Hello, everyone, and welcome to this fine new episode of the Ubuntu Touch Q&A, the Ubports Foundation show discussing the development of Ubuntu Touch and our community's questions. This is episode 142, streamed live on June 8th, 2024. We've got a big roundup here, and I'm Alfred, and joining me today or tonight are Apley.
Hello.
Marius.
Hello.
And our special guest tonight, Lionel.
Hello, everybody.
Very nice to see all of you again. And let's start with a few news that we have here. We have these news collected from the commits of GitLab, the commit list over the last 2 weeks. There have been a bunch of things in regards to I suppose, account stuff and contact stuff again that is going on in development right now. I see some WireGuard enablement here on the Xiaomi Poco X3 Surya, which is nice to see. I mean, who doesn't like some advanced VPN solution on their devices? What else do we happen to have here? We do have a little bit of upstream rebasing on top of upstream release for audio system pass-through for LightDM, where we merged the new one from Noble into Main, I suppose. We also have something that I should mention because it happened last weekend. We were representing at TDOS in the Netherlands, where it was an event for Dutch community hackers. And we also had a stand there. We had a little booth there. And I was interviewed by the fine folks over at Angry Nerds. Pretty cool podcast. And I was sitting there for a few minutes talking about Ubuntu Touch and how the system actually is able to communicate with the hardware and bringing some more of the knowledge further. But it was overall really a great experience to be there, and I also got the Fairphone 5 there to mess around with. And the Fairphone 5 also now in this change set that I made was getting snaps and camera permission support, which we will, for the snaps part, we will get into later, I guess. GitLab is stuck. There we go. We have a little bit of address book changes, remove redundant SO name bump dependency, a little bit of working here and there also. Some Ophono patch backporting into our own custom fork of Ophono and the regular one, also the Sailfish one. So the same CVE applied to all three different Ophono versions that we maintain at the moment, that we support. So that also, that's pretty quick roundup because from what I could gather, the changes were not as spread across the whole thing. I mean, still spread across, but more like key areas that are working in one bucket, so to say, instead of working on multiple buckets. There is also some test enablement again for Buteo Sync FW QML, which, if I'm not mistaken, one of the QML modules had to be renamed because it was named wrongly. And other little changes here. Is there anything also Ayatana indicator upstream rebasing from Debian Unstable rather, where the indicators got new bumps to merge version 24.5.0-1, and who doesn't like updated indicators, right? So that's that. Is there anything that you remember or that you see that is very important to be mentioned at the moment? Because I'm just glancing through this list and it's even complicated, starting to be complicated for me. So
It's a very long list as well.
yeah,
One thing that piqued my brain is the fix of a CV, so that's good.
yeah,
We like it when we secure things or try to
yes,
at
exactly,
least.
exactly. I think that would be pretty much it for the commits and new changes that have landed over the last 2 weeks. I think we should head over to our special guest section. I'm sad we don't have an animation on the screen right now, but
This
we
is a
do have our
project.
special guest Lionel with us. Lionel, how about you introduce yourself to the community and to those who are watching and listening?
Yeah, so Lionel from France, from the west part of France, and I'm part of the community since 2017. I first on BQ 4.5 at that time, and I started to act around the Ubuntu Touch in I think 2018, around that, starting to push some stuffs in documentations and Lomery and some system apps. I worked on messaging app, dialer app, address book app, and so here and there some
Mhm.
stuff in the middlewares. And what else to say? So for my introduction, so
That's a good
I
thing.
like to, yeah, it's okay.
Do you drink coffee or tea? What's your preferred one?
Oh, coffee.
Okay. Very.
Yeah.
So as you can tell, Lionel has been working on a few things, on a lot of things actually here, and I suppose we should look at what are your recent developments with Ubuntu Touch as a whole. I mean, we've been talking about the contacts synchronization adventure, so to say, but
Yeah.
how does this look like in your opinion from your view? How does that? Could
Well,
you explain
it
a little
was,
bit about it?
yeah, it's a very mm, big challenge for me. It was a very big challenge. I was very afraid to get into it because when you start to look at how it works, you have so many components everywhere, so very hard to get into. So I was at the time that where Alberto Mardegan, which was the former developer who tried to brought the new backend to Ubuntu Touch. I was too afraid to take it to take the boat after, and
Mm,
but I was working on the calendar synchronization issue first, and then after, in my mind, I said, "Hey, why not trying to do something with contact? Because I know it is what was not what how to say. It was the things that was missing when Alberto tried to bring it to Xenial
mm,
at that time in 2023, at the end of the Xennial cycle. I think
yes,
we've tried to bring it, and
indeed.
yeah, so it was a huge work to get it to focal, to get the base components, and so I started to work on it 2 months ago, and step by step. I have lots of work to do. Debianized all the
Mm,
packages from Selfish OS
yeah.
and try to find a solution, a middle, a balanced solution to not to go too far and not to have regressions. So my idea was to just to try to find a middle solution to
Okay.
bring it, yeah, for it was possible
Very
to bring
nice.
it to Ubuntu Touch, yeah. And it was a big adventure, yeah. So it's lots of things everywhere.
Yeah, I guess so. Especially with the idea of us having our own contacts backend and having to migrate that one over to a new one
Yeah,
and making
yeah,
sure that all the components work together still and that
yeah,
the contacts get access in the same or a similar way. That must be quite a challenge, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
So yeah, but I mean, hey, it is long overdue, and we have tried to do it, and I'm glad that you're working on it, Lionel. So thanks a lot from my side, and pretty sure all the others are also going to appreciate it.
Yeah, and to add to this, I joined the forum in 2019, I think, and it was a big topic at the time. It
Mm,
was every newcomer came and say, "Okay, we don't have CalDAV and CalDAV, so we need something. We need our for contacts. It was easy because you export them and you can import them. But, people wanted to be able to sync them and also for calendar to be able.
Mm.
We had the synchronization with Nextcloud account that was sometimes it worked, sometimes it was broken. So it was a long time process and.
Yeah,
So I imagine it really was a struggle to make it work. So
yeah. At
congrats.
first I've tried just to improve the existing address book service. This is the current service who is responsible to talk to the backend. We are using Evolution Data Server for that, but for me it was too tight. Everything was not very how to say not very easy to get into it. We have to know some libraries and a way to code that is very hard to understand, and it's the performance is not very good with the current situation. When you have more than 500 contacts, I know some users have more than 2,000 contacts, and it's the address book is not usable. Is not
mm,
usable at all. Yeah, you have to wait 1 minute before you have all the contacts loaded, and you can't scroll, can't search. You have several
right.
issues. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
not possible to
remember a
configure.
similar issue with the
Yeah,
picture
yeah.
in the gallery app. So yeah,
Yeah.
and
So yeah, the first step was made with Alberto, but there were lots of small glitches when we tried to bring it to Xenial. It was not possible to integrate it to the end of the cycle of Xenial. Yeah. So we have now. I have now a phone with a new contact backend with
Hmm.
3,000 contacts. I can maybe show one example
Sure.
of how
Yeah.
it would behaves. Yes, this I think it's the first video.
The first video.
Yeah,
It's the stage. There we go. It's still loading.
it
There we
is.
go.
Yes. Okay, this is real time and recorded with the awesome tool from Alfred.
Not
And
only
you can
mine.
see that the search is very smooth. You can see when you load when you load. Yes, let's
Yeah.
start again. 3,000 contacts. You can
Wow.
scroll.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, and the
That's not
search
bad
is
at all.
yeah,
This is
very
really
impressive.
nice. Amazing work, man.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Yeah. This
totally
looks
agree.
nice.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm really amazed because I know how hard this area is. I have drawn some hair off my head sometimes. I'm working on that area,
Mm,
so it
yeah,
is
yeah. Pretty.
it is complicated.
It is. Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious. Did you find a way to integrate things neatly, or did you have to hack everything off and start anew, or at least you had to rebuild a lot of things?
I've started with the code base from Alberto and started to fix some issues that we had first, and to take some components from Selfish OS and try to install it locally. Debian has the Debian package for Debian, and tried. So it needs lots of reverse engineering, of course. Yes, to know how, because not so many documentation around. And as I said, every component, here this is just a local test. It is for local contacts. So it's local contacts is quite easy to understand because this is only address book app which communicates with the backend, which is a SQLite database.
Mhm.
And we're using an API from QtPim, so it's quite easy to understand. That part is okay. But the synchronization is another story.
Eh, how about talking about the synchronization? What kind of services can we expect to be supported if this lands or when this lands?
Yeah, so my first test is focused on CardDAV only. CardDAV synchronization for I've tested for Nextcloud and a generic one.
Mhm.
I will show you next another demo for with a local CardDAV server.
Should I put it on the stage?
Um, uh, yes, we can, but maybe before, just to if you ask about the components involved, maybe. So lots of components were coming from Selfish OS, with a little bit of adaptation, of course, because they use some their own components just to store some settings, or just to know for example, for the equivalent of AirPowerD.
Mm.
There is some stuff to adapt, of course, but it was quite smooth to go into. It was quite okay because but lot of tests. Yes, we can show the an example of the second video. Yes, please.
There we go.
So this is a case where we don't have any contacts. Maybe it's a bit too quick. This is a case when people who will not have any contacts, local contacts, I mean.
Mm.
Because the idea of the migration tool is just only to import local contacts
Hmm.
and let users set up their CardDAV accounts to have their online contacts. So we can see. So this is already something that you know. What else to say? You can see here. Maybe it's too quick. We can see that there are several address book there. Radical. So I'm creating a contact in my local in my radical. There is an auto synchronization,
Hmm. Did I just see that? Yeah,
and
the
here,
indicator.
yes, and Alberto was did already did that. So I
Hmm.
had to adapt some stuffs from the synchronization profile, for example, some that we can see. Yes, quickly we can see the indicator.
Yeah, that's
Perfect.
yeah, very
Yeah,
good.
this is mesmerizing to me. This is
Ah,
nice to see. I've been waiting for this for a long time. Gotta
Yeah,
admit.
me
hope,
either.
hope.
Me also because when you switch phone or when you just want to mess a bit with it and you say, okay, yeah, but I have to save everything and have my backups, and then you will have to reinstall them. Installing apps is quite easy and fast. I found, but what bothers me is mostly contact and calendar. So now it works with synchronization. So
Yeah,
great.
and the
Very
speed
nice.
is quite good. The speed is quite good. Yeah, and I was happy to see the indicator transfer indicator. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Very
successful
cool.
transfers.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hope it will land in the early cycles of 2404,
Hmm.
because Mike and Guido are working hard to packaging them to Debian first,
Hmm.
and then we will have them back, but they are shipped for 2404. So it will be possible soonish to test them when the Noble image will be ready, I hope. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that.
I hope it will land. Yeah.
I really
Yeah, that
enjoy
would be
seeing.
great. A real something really important, a real new feature for people to intensive people to move to Novo. Yeah, so that's
Mhm.
great.
Great.
Yeah, especially with Noble being like this new hot next step for Ubuntu Touch, we can make a few adjustments that would otherwise not be justified easily. With that, we have a clean slate situation. We upgrade the base, we put everything on top of that, and one of those key pieces would be the contacts and calendar synchronization backend change, so that it would provide all the features that we as users expect from it. I really enjoy this, and seeing this like growing like that is very cool to see, especially after having waited for so long and now it's starting to shine. All right, yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Do we have more questions to Lionel? I mean, we should give him a little bit of more airtime, but this can't be the only thing that you've been working on. I've seen also with the file manager, you've also adapted the change to the file manager to support the file protocol,
Yeah.
so that you can just point a file URL over to over, I suppose, with first and foremost with the URL dispatcher, but also with the terminal, I guess,
Yeah. Of course.
and have the thing open in the spot that you selected or put in as a path. So nice work overall, and I would like
Thank
to
you.
see more of that goodness on the desktop, especially where it makes a little bit more sense to have the terminal open a file path, right, to the file manager. Um, I want to. I soonish want to try this, so don't let me forget about this.
And
All right.
Lionel, you also worked on the messaging app.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah. It
yeah,
happens.
Lionel
Yeah.
is the big stuff.
Oh,
No,
it's a
it's a
messaging app. It's
critical app.
The
yeah,
things
critical.
no one dares
Not
touching.
easy. It was
Yeah, but
actually the first challenge I've made. It was to get into it. Yeah. So, but I'm using Qt Creator for that for developing that, and it's quite for the UI at least it's quite easy
Mm.
to make things okay regarding UI. But of course, this is not just a single app standalone. He talked to lots of components behind. So this is
yeah,
the yeah. And I was not a C++ developer before, and was not. I was from Java and all that kind of stuff, and
Mm.
HTML, and front end things. So it was lots of discovery.
It's a
Crazy
great
things.
learning experience, though. Jumping in the cold
Oh,
waters. You say?
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And coming from Java, I'd say yeah, because
Yeah.
But I don't recommend to do that. Yes, better to start with C before, not
yeah,
after. That
that's
and
also my
even yeah,
advice. Hmm.
yeah, and something more is that I'm nearly 50-year old, and so for a 50-year-old brain, C is not a good thing.
Yeah,
And all that kind of glib, glib on C, all that kind of stuff. For me, it's not
winning,
possible. I spend 10
winning
hours
the
just to
brain
code three
championships.
lines.
I mean, to
Yeah.
be honest, uh, G- glib also really screws me up with my brain too. So
Ah.
that doesn't matter about age. That's just it screws with everyone's brain. I think.
Okay. So okay, good.
All right. Yeah, if the community has any questions for Lionel, please let them come in and keep them coming. I think in the meantime, we could head over to either the applications or the sponsors. What would you say? Coin toss. Let's go with the applications from the open store for now. What are you doing?
I don't know. Okay, if you want to go to the Ubports store, let's go to the Ubports store. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Of course, yeah. Let's go over to the store stuff. At
So
Prestige, we have
yeah,
a little bit of
this
news here.
week we have 12. Since the last couple of weeks, we have 12 updated and new apps. Most of them are just updated, and we have a brand new app that I will keep for the end. Let's start with the Hex Explorer, which is a pretty useful app for developers, at least, just to show you, what color code is for the text background. So it's a quite useful app made by Daniel first. So thank you, Daniel, for this update. You updated translations and thanking the translator. That is also a great part of the OS because, without translator, everyone should have to speak English, which we don't. Not on daily basis. Not everyone.
Yes.
X Explorer, quite an important tool to have when you want at least to work on a UI. We have also one of my favorite app, Activity Tracker, still Daniel first. So thank you, Daniel. You put a lot of work, but it was just updating the translation. So it's just, a quick cleaning, be sure it still works, but still it's important work. And so the tracker app helps you just register GPX files with tracking your position. The only thing that I don't like is because you don't have a GPS background service yet. But it will come one day, hopefully, if I have time to put myself into it. But priorities. We have also UT Sysbench Qt Guy, which is basically just a benchmark tool for your phone. So thanks Adam Friedrich to having brought this app to Ubuntu Touch. And so this is just an update. You added expand compare feature. Okay. So it lets you show where you sit on the scale of other phones if you are interested in high performance with your mobile device. Which can be good for gaming applications and stuff. So quite interesting. And I see
Figuring out
great.
Figuring out which app requires which performance. It makes this makes it very easy to figure that one out.
Yeah, that's an interesting app. And we also have one of my I like those kind of stories. The big moving text fork, which has been forked by Wilfried, because the maintainer from the original app didn't put it to focal. And some people ask about it on the Telegram channel. And some guy just put himself here, and now it works, and we can just share the love with people. And that's nice. I like this kind of story where people just say, okay, I would love to see this app again. And someone says, me too, you remind me of something. They have the skills, so they try to put it here. And so, 3 updates since the last 2 weeks. So they even brought some minor modifications to put it to good use. So great. Thanks, Wilfried. Snapzer. I don't know who did this app, but I don't think it's really useful. It just brings snaps to Ubuntu Touch. So thank you, Alfred, for your work. What did you do for the last update?
So for this update, what I did was first and foremost, I rebased on top of the recently released 2.63 plus some commits on top of that, plus the libhypers enablement again, so that OpenGL ES drivers from libhypers are reused. I also made it possible to reinstall the thing in case you update the operating system and it disappears, so that you can easily just press the reinstall button. Also, two remaining things. One of them is extra user detection and setting up the thing in a way that it advertises itself to Snapd as Ubuntu Touch, which then causes it to use the writable paths for extra users instead of the read-only groups and user databases that are already in the rootfs and the read-only part, which then causes it to install cups successfully so that you can actually have printer support using snaps. And the final one, the one that I'm most proud of, because I've just taken the leap forward to bring something to the devices where it was very often requested. It's Docker support also is up here. Docker, meaning that you can snap install the Docker package from the Snap store, and it would automatically set up everything in a way that works well enough to execute probably most popular ARM v8 Docker containers inside of your Ubuntu Touch terminal, which you can also, for that purposes of those demos, you can also set up an extra user group called Docker and put the phablet user in that, all using just the writable paths that are available right now. And after that, you have Docker running as root, but you can still access it through your regular user terminal without requiring sudo, which is pretty nice, which is pretty nifty. And it also leads us to a very nice situation here, which I've prepared a video for, which I would like to add to the stage real quick. Here we have the Jingpad running Tide in the background. And it has 4 snaps installed: Docker, Tide, Clickable, and Git. They're all installed from the Snap store, and they're all running on Ubuntu Touch, as you can see. So here we have Tide pressing the build button and showing the terminal, which then, or the console, basically, which then starts Clickable in the back and tells Docker to compile a Clickable-based Ubuntu Touch project on the device for the device. And after some seconds, it's finished. A fresh build on the Jingpad is a little slow, but there you go. I mean, this proves that Ubuntu Touch is capable of building applications on Ubuntu Touch itself, which is the headline, or was the headline, of my presentation that I gave in Riga. Basically, snap crafting on a tablet, how to achieve that. We can also do the same with Clicks now. So we can have a self-hosted development environment where we have Ubuntu Touch providing apps for itself. Mission accomplished.
That's great. Great. Very, very impressive. So yeah, people were asking about this feature since you announced SnapServe.
Yeah.
And yeah, now it's here.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, back to the open store, David.
Yeah. Another one of my favorite apps of all time is Pure Maps. Pure Maps has been updated recently by Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan, for the work. And yeah, it's a great GPS with navigation. I really loved it. And so there are 2 versions. There's a normal one, and you have also the slim one. The slim one is very lightweight, and it's just lacking the voice to guide you. You know, this GPS voice that is personally very annoying to me. So I have the slim version, and it's great.
There you go.
Fast to install, and you can also use it with OSM Scout server, which allows you to have offline mappings, which is great when you have low coverage or if you're in a foreign country with your data plan doesn't apply in there. So yeah, great dual updates for Pure Maps. Yeah, some workarounds. Extended geo URI handlings. That's a great thing, I think. I had trouble with that, but I was always able to manage. But this will be great. Yeah, something that people noticed and asked about it in the chat also. It's a Hide Me VPN. Yeah, so it's a front end for Hide Me VPN. I don't know if you can configure other VPNs, but at least there's a front end able to do it, so that's a great thing. The only drawback I see is that it's unrestricted at the moment, and so you have to trust that this app won't do any harm to your device. So yeah. So thank you, Eventure Ltd. So I think that's probably the people behind the Hide Me VPN. So that's great that companies are interested in Ubuntu Touch. So great! I love this kind of news. More companies are welcome because yeah, we are open source, but we are not close-minded.
Yes.
There is also Delta Touch. We already talked a bit about Delta Touch when it was released, I think. So it's brought to us by Lothar Kutterer. And basically, it's you have a UI of a messaging app, but it works over standard emails. But it enforces encrypted emails. So you have your own server, or you can connect to another kind of server that does only the messaging thing. So it's optimized for Delta Chat, which is the app behind it, behind the Delta Touch app for Ubuntu Touch. And yeah, it's quite interesting. I dug a bit into it, and yeah, that's really promising. The people behind Delta Chat as a whole seems to have done a good work securing their app. So yeah, it's quite interesting. I will have to dig deeper into and review maybe the code of this one because it's intriguing. But yeah, that's always something that's a trouble in Ubuntu Touch is messaging applications. Everyone wants us to have a WhatsApp version. It won't happen. That's mostly impossible. We have a great integration of Telegram, but it lacks some feature, and some people are just relying on Telegram, the web app. So yeah, this has a low threshold to entry because you just have to create a new email address dedicated to messaging or just use your regular one. So that's interesting on this front. Yeah, quite intriguing app. Thank you, Lothar. And yeah, a lot of UI modification for the update and some bug fixes. So yeah. We also have an update of mileage, which allows you to calculate your cost of fuel. So thank you, Mick, for the update. Yeah, bigger than usual update because there's a database upgrade, replacement of all U1DB components with Qt settings. Okay. Also addition of an odometer field. So yeah, new features. Great. That's a great update. Yeah, we like to have more things. SingSing also. Terence updated SingSing.
Coming
Putting
in.
it.
Just arrived also in the chat.
Yeah.
Look at you being here.
Yeah.
Very
So you're showcased.
okay.
You are not ignored. Yeah, and he also put the release notes there, so that's great. I should do this. I will borrow this ID. Thank you. Thanks, Trans. Very useful thing. For people that don't know, it's a way to synchronize files and folders between any devices based on just a simple HTTP connection or HTTPS. So yeah, it can work on as well. You just have to be in the same network. I think that's the main constraint.
Hmm.
It's been a while since I used and configured SyncSync. And we have a new app, brand new app, just released yesterday, Annotate, which seems quite useful, in fact. And so that's a really good surprise for me today. Thanks to Samfris to have brought this app. It's an HTML5 application that allows you to open and edit PDF files. So you can draw things in your file and add annotations. So yeah, quite a nice premise. I didn't try it yet, but quite useful. I have e-paper ink tablets that I use to do that. So yeah, and I really like it. And yeah, seeing being able to highlight things, change the color. So yeah, it's basic feature seems to be there. So
Okay.
I'm quite interested in testing it. So thank you very much. And that's it for this roundup for today.
Very nice. That means we will have to switch over to the sponsors. Let me just, where's the remove button? There it is. And let's head over to the sponsor section. We have a few sponsors here that make this whole thing possible as well. And those are Smooth, Walla, Pine64, Private Internet Access, DigitalOcean, GitLab, Wanstein, OCA, Gardner and Associates Consulting Inc., Netlify, Cloudron, Code Luton, Tixia, and Gandhi.net. And I think it should be apparent to everyone here that the butchering the names section is reserved for this wonderful person down below here. Yes, and that is Lionel. Lionel is hopefully ready to read the patrons off the list.
Wow. It's okay. So Thiel, Eismund Kopang, Boris Flaus, Daniel Franzak, David Thiel, G.T. Brooks, Jose Angel Escura, Kenneth Drew, Linus Ruhn, Lothar Ketterer, Mike Adamietz, Marco A, Michael Kelliner, Peter Mack, Philip Spicer, Rakesh Piquet, Robert Haley, Robin Hood, Rudy Harudi, Spendier Hughes, Stephen Kalb, Stephen Granger, Toraf Sound and Sabine Schwarzer, Will Atwood. Oops.
Very
Sorry
nice.
for
Welcome to the list or welcome to the club, basically.
international
Yes.
names.
Yes, butchering the names, international. We should make that a name for ourselves.
Yeah,
All right.
and a meme with it.
Yes, also. Yeah, special thanks to Lionel reading all those special thanks to the folks on the patrons list. And if you're interested in getting on the patrons list as well, you can head over to ubports.com/donate. and or find other ways of donating to the project via ubports.com/donate and help us out financially, and maybe you also get mentioned on the list this way. So, assuming that you can handle it. And thanks for your support.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
All right. Yeah, we do have a little bit of news about the Foundation, BOD, and MC election.
Woo.
Who wants to take this question or this part of the news?
I can
Yeah.
take it. I feel like I have not said much this time.
Yeah, I figured too. Yes.
So there was an election for the BOD, and the results are in. You've probably already seen it since it's been published all around the place. But I will sum it up. But at least first, congratulations to Apple for
And to you, Marius.
and to me. But especially to you, since you have not been there before. This is your first time.
Yeah.
Then I will find the full list. So the full list of the board of directors are me, Nigel Wood, Ricardo Mendoza, Apley, and Alan. Some of these you probably know, and some is more unknown. So Ricardo Mendoza has been there since the beginning. He was a canonical employee. He was working on the Ubuntu Touch project from the beginning. I think he had a pretty high up position back then before it dropped. And Alan, I think he has done a lot of translations and being around in the community. I'm pretty sure he's also Norwegian. So this time we have 2 Norwegians on the board of director and not 2 Germans. This time I don't think we have any Germans. That's interesting. That's for the first time. It's a German foundation with no Germans.
Well, not in the BOD at least.
Not in the BOD.
Is there in the MC?
In the membership committee is Daniel Frost, Diogo Constantino, and Richard Rachanan. So I'm not sure. Is Daniel?
Daniel is German, yeah.
He's German, so at least there is someone.
Representing Deutschland.
But also there are some substitute if anything will happen with anyone in the board of directors, and these 2 are Oren and Ricardo Rico. So there is two extra, and also the same goes for the membership committee. Here we have Roger and Mohammed Ali.
There you go. Very nice. Yeah, it's great that the foundation situation has been resolved. We have to do these regular elections at an interval that is like set
2 years.
2
every
years,
2
yeah.
years.
Every 2 years.
And
it's
with
also,
that, yeah.
This also is kind of the big thing about the foundation, where everyone is elected and there is a democracy per se.
Mhm. Yeah, checks and balances. So there's the MC and there's the BOD, and the members, they elect both of them in a way that is suitable for each individual's like point of view, and we put those votes in, and then the end result is what you get now. Having people elected in their respective positions that they applied to, and this works pretty well, I think. Certainly, I've not been involved in much of the paperwork or the decision making, but I could only guess that it would be a hard thing to deal with. So, hats off
Yeah,
and much respect here.
The membership committee is in charge of organizing the election. So they had a lot of work in the recent weeks to organize the votes, get them, and also just compute the results and be sure that there was no mistakes. So they had to double check, triple check everything. So huge work from them. So thank you Diogo and Daniel, former and new members of the membership committee. So big shout out to
Right.
them.
All right, we've got a few minutes left. I think we should head over to the questions as soon as possible. We are running out of time. So take these questions from the forums, and let's start with this one from Quailex. I'll go with that. Excuse me, about voice over LTE. What's going on with Qualcomm's IMS plugin? Is Qualcomm's IMS plugin also open source? Marius, I think you might be able to answer this one.
You dropped out for a second there. I think my internet connection. Can you repeat that?
So about the Qualcomm IMS plugin, is that one also open source?
So the reason why it hasn't been really out there is because there is some issues with NDA and stuff. So the thing is that I need to completely do it clean room for it to be on the safe side. Since I have had access to some of the Qualcomm source code, which means that I have to do this in a different way and completely reverse engineering. Like I only have the information, and then that's why it has been so hard to do it out in the open. So that's the short answer. But I plan to get it out there as soon as possible. I think within 2 weeks or something, it should be ready.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so the next question comes from the Defen guy. Are there any plans to add a feature to block people by number on messages and calls? I don't think we have anything like that planned, but maybe Lionel would have an idea on how to implement that, or give an idea on how to do it overall. I mean, what could happen
much,
there?
but I think that Magic had worked on it on Ophono directly. I think Ophono is have something with blacklists, but nobody took it afterward.
Okay.
I don't know where will be the good place to start with. I don't know.
Yeah, basically,
But
I mean, if
definitely needed. Yeah.
Yeah, if Ophono has it, definitely yes, getting spams all over. So yeah, I get that, but it would be interesting to, if anybody is interested in making that happen, Ophono would, as Lionel suggested, be a very fitting place for that functionality, and something in system settings or in the dialer app maybe, so that those things are manageable.
Yeah, and it should be before the ringtone rings, so or the vibration. So
yes,
yeah, it has to be handled the closest possible to the modem.
I will be able to do that on upper layer, but not an Ophono because it's C-Lang. C-Lang, I'm completely rubbish on C. So,
okay.
But if it's a good solution also to do that on telepathy Ophono, why not? I can try it. Maybe it's not the good place.
Right.
Wasn't there an old canonical, old plugin, not plugin, but app that were released on the old canonical store that cost money?
Yes, there was something like that. Yeah, in Xenial specifically.
Right.
But yeah. Next question from Tonton. First of all, thanks for the hard work invested by all Ubuntu Touch contributors. Thanks to you too. I have two questions about the new web browser which is developed by Alfred. Is there any plan to include bookmark password or password syncing? If there is, would it be possible to make it through Firefox Sync like GNOME Epiphany did, now GNOME Web? I do not know the difficulty of adapting some existing code for this, but there is a big Firefox user base out there, and the ability to keep sync across devices would be awesome. Yes, so there's no specific plan, but it is certainly something that I'm hoping to implement or waiting for someone else to implement, so that we can have this WebKit and the Epiphany browser or GNOME Web is also using WebKit in a similar way, so it shouldn't be way too far to just fetch those pieces of Epiphany and just stuff them in, potentially, if not doing a re-implementation. But shouldn't be much of an issue to get accomplished. It just needs someone to do it. Second question is there any plan to add some DRM through Widevine? So the idea with media playback on WebKit is to run through GStreamer and have GStreamer take the burden of decoding the video for you. And there are some ESM or EMS. I'm not really sure about the shorthand for this specific thing, but there is something for encrypted multimedia packages that get decoded by GStreamer using that and get then displayed in the WebKit browser. So it's not as none of those 2 points are concrete plans or don't have a concrete plan, but they would certainly enrich the capabilities of the browser, which I'm looking forward to myself. So, yeah. And ending the message with have a good one. The last question comes from Matthias B, and that is there still no better way to encrypt user data on a device, like a link to the forum post, one method to encrypt home valid? When will Ubuntu Touch reach the standard of Android and iOS, which other alternative mobile operating systems such as Sailfish OS have also had for years? For me, this is the last hurdle for using Ubuntu Touch as a daily companion. Thank you for your work. So with that, there have been ideas floating around and many discussions over the years, we know. There have been many discussions, and one of those was, how do we get Lux into the system? And Lux would provide not the operating system user experience that we want to provide. It would not provide the same on-screen keyboard across login of the shell and boot up in the first place, and what the user does. So in the end, the idea is to provide file system-based encryption using F2FS or X4, making use of those instead of encrypting everything, because the problem is that on Android-based devices, there is this certain expectation of the system is read-only and readable. The user data, though, is encrypted, can be decrypted on the fly using the PIN that the person entered. And we want to have the same with Ubuntu Touch, like on Android, where we boot up the device. Actually, I do have a video somewhere on Twitter. I'm not going to look up for that one. It's way too old for me to find it quickly. But the issue is that, or the basic scenario, less of an issue, the scenario is that you boot up the phone, it shows the greeter as you're expecting from boot up, like the Ubuntu Touch logo. Then it shows an intermediate Lomiri session where LightDM, the login manager, asks you for your PIN or your password, whatever you have configured. You enter that one, and then it starts the real session into the user's home directory and decrypts the home directory on the fly. I've tested this with FS-Crypt. It works very well. But the idea in the future would be to potentially, at least, make use of System D, Home D, or something else that allows to manage those situations for us, where we can have file system-based encryption be handled by Home D, and the user sets up the account, and that's about it. There have not been any concrete plans, but there have been experiments, and we have gained a lot of experience from that, which means that we at least have an overview of how to do that. And with that, encryption should be possible, but it's not there yet. 2404, though, enables that because everything is there for us to just take advantage of and implement it in the operating system. All right.
Just as a compliment, I would say that part of the question was about when will Ubuntu Touch reach the standard of Android and iOS, and For that, it will require a lot of manpower, but
Yes.
a lot. It's not like 10 times more, it's like 100 times more. So yeah, we need more volunteers. We need more person to help us out with different stuff. Because even myself, I'm interested in a lot of topics, but I can only take one at a time, because if I try to do everything at the same time, yeah, I'm lost and I do nothing. So yeah, I changed my bracket, and now I'm trying to focus on things, and yeah, one step at a time, and trying to.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we are not so many. There are, yeah, we talked about the elections, but we have like less than 40 members in the Ubports foundation, so official members. So that's not a lot of people, and those people are contributors, but yeah, with their life also, with often a paid job on the side. So yeah, it's for us to reach the level we want to reach, we need a lot of people, a lot more people.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Bring
more
in.
better.
Yeah, and it's fun.
Well, then, I think that wraps it up for this episode. Anything that you want to add? Anything that you want to point people to? Or maybe your Twitters, your Instagrams, potentially? I don't know.
Your ex.
X. Oh, my. Yes. Okay. It's X now. I accept
Your
that.
exes.
X
The
is the
question
X.
was for you, Lionel.
Oh, it was a question for me. Okay. Oh, just you will see my name somewhere in the forum or in Telegram. Yes, you can. I don't have any interesting post in X sites. Yes, so yes, you can. You can of course ping me if you're interested in the in anything.
Very nice.
And
Fair
you're
enough.
very active on the forum, so that's also a great place to reach you.
Yeah.
It is true.
Yeah,
It is
the
true.
forum is great. I just wish I used it more.
Hmm.
All right. So, thanks everyone for listening in, tuning in, watching, and experiencing this final episode of the Ubuntu Touch Q&A. And I hope to see everyone here next time in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.